This training is going to be recorded. And this is going to be recorded for on-demand training. Yes, bye again, Brandon. That's fair. That's fair. I respect the decision you made there. Well done. Well done. Anyway, you are here for Vice President of Membership. I am Andrew, and I am the current Secretary of Dungeons and Toast. And wait, you all must be thinking I'm here for the VPM role. Yes, you're in the right spot. It's not because my talents are wasted on being a secretary. It's because our district director, Angel, is our VPM in my home club. And I am secretly planning a coup so that I can take over the VPM role just to prove that I can usurp her. And really, I have needed all the VPM people being trained to be on board with this idea. And I can tell by all your faces you're 100% in. Thank you. Thank you. I'm kidding. I have been VPM a couple times. I've also been VPE, and I love it. Thank you, Huey. The emojis really they give me life. All of you, if you don't want to show your faces, you can emoji. Even thumbs down is okay for me. But I have been VPM, VPE, and president as well. I've served VPM 3 times over the past 4 years, I think, for both my home club and Axe Club. Dungeons and Toast, the club that I'm in, has won Club of the Year in District 100. I was fortunate enough to win President of the Year, as well as competed at district level for both International Speech Contest and Tall Tales Contest. And I have been a Toastmaster since 2021. And that checks the box of telling you a little bit about my Toastmasters experience. Thank you all. That sucks. I hate that part. But now that's out of the way, I want to say congratulations on accepting the role of Vice President of Membership for your club. And before we get started, I would like to, even if you don't necessarily turn your camera on, I'd love to see by a show of emojis or hands, how many of you have been in this role before? Or you can just say it, unmute and say it. That's fine too.
I have never taken this role.
Oh, cool. And do you prefer Emma or not?
Emma, because everybody butchers. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I butchered it. Okay, I'm sticking with Emma. We'll go with
At least
that.
you didn't call me nigga. That's because it's NGA. I hope I
Yes.
made you laugh. Okay.
Yes. Well, thank you, Emma. I think I might have seen some folks share emoji. How many of you have at least been a club officer before? Emma, is this is your first role in particular or first time as VPM?
First time as VPM, I was secretary the last few sessions.
Okay. Anyone else, is this their first time as VPM? Is there anybody else a first time club officer here?
First time for me. With everything.
With everything. Okay. Awesome. I will take the silence as not first timers, but Sarah, I want to particularly thank you because I think all of us here who have been in roles before can attest to how great it is to have new leaders in the club. I think the Toastmasters experience at the club level, it's carried by the leadership of the club, and it's making sure that every member has the most amazing experience. I really believe that. And so for me, like seeing new club officers, that excites me because it's the club experience that gets people into anything related to Toastmasters before anything else. But having said all that, I'd like to get this show on the road. Like I said, I want to get you all out of here with enough time to maybe have a little bit of fun before the end of the night. But yes, we are here for VPM training, as I mentioned before, and this is what we're going to talk about. Oh, no, that's not what we're going to talk about. That's terrible. Why didn't anybody tell me? I said this was that said this was the conclusion of the session. Now all the people in the on-demand, I'm really blaming you, Brandon. This is all on you. I'm just telling you. But this is what we're talking about today. This is our agenda. So exciting. One, the VPM role. Two, the VPM responsibilities. And three, VPM resources. And also on this wonderful agenda, we have got identifying your role. And can I tell you, all of you are natural 20s. Yes, so I'm in Dungeons and Toast. We're a Dungeons and Dragons club, so natural 20. It's a role in Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, this is a dad joke and a D&D joke. The leave meeting button is at the bottom of your screen. I do believe, though, you're going to have to do on-demand training, and this is the recorded session. You could just fast forward to that part, but you're going to have to deal with that if you're being trained by me. Sorry about that. The second thing is fulfilling your responsibilities to your club and the executive committee. And then finally, finding resources that will help you fulfill your responsibilities. And so the goal for this whole session is for you to be able to do those three things. All right. So, VPM role. Before we move forward, I want to let you know that all of this stuff can be found in your club leadership handbook. But while we're here, y'all are VPMs. I have been asked to ask you what the essence of the VPM role is. And I'm telling you that it says quote unquote essence, not purpose. So I would love to hear you describe what you feel the essence of VPM is. If anybody would like to unmute and share what they think the essence of being VPM membership is.
Recruitment?
Recruitment. I like it. Straightforward, succinct, simple.
I'd say encourage people to join Toastmasters.
Okay. Encourage people to join Toastmasters. Thank you, Deco. Brandon, I saw you open the video up. I'm sure
It was the wrong button. I was going to say good gatekeeping.
good gatekeeping. I like that because normally you typically associate gatekeeping with bad, but indicating the good is very important. I like that. I like those answers. The canned response is that it maintains membership levels to allow for a high quality club meeting, as well as remembering to know the member goals and enable them to be achieved. For me, and I like the good gatekeeping thing because it kind of lines up with how I've always felt about it. Personally, I always feel that it is to provide a safe entry point for anyone interested in your club and be the first representative of your club's culture. I believe good members stick around because they fit your club. And knowing what makes a club unique is a huge part of being a good VPM. It's not just about recruitment and volume of members, it's about ensuring that those members feel like the club is meant for them. Okay, we talked about essence. We have clear-cut responsibilities. I'd love to hear a little bit about what you think your primary responsibilities are to ensure you are living out the essence of being VPM.
So far for me, the essence is so many emails.
So many emails. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't sound too off. Anyone else? Or does emails just cover the entirety? Is emails actually the essence of being vice president of membership? All right. Well, fortunately, I've got this whole thing written out for me. The role of vice president of membership, as stated in the club constitution in standard bylaws of Toastmasters International, is the vice president membership is the third ranking club officer and is responsible for planning, organizing, and directing a program that ensures individual member retention and growth in club individual membership. The vice president of membership chairs the membership committee. So the Constitution provides that as a definition, but there are a lot of responsibilities that end up making up the day-to-day activities of your role. So everything you do as vice president of membership should be driven by whatever your club's mission is. And I don't know if all of you have a mission that's unique for your club or is what is based off Toastmaster guidelines, but either way, thinking about how the VPM can help support that. So having said that, what do you think it is that the VPM role does that allows the club to accomplish its mission?
Checks in on their members? Or
Cool.
no, checks up on their members. Sorry.
I love that you said that because usually the first thing people say is recruit more members, and that's so cool that you didn't just go with kind of the standard thing. But Charles, I saw you unmuted. What were you about to say?
Contact the prospective guests.
Okay. I like that, yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Both contacting guests retaining members, checking in with members, contact or conducting any membership contests as you try to recruit. Obviously, contacting guests leads to recruitment of new members. You're also going to need to process membership applications, and just in general, being a resource for guests and members. And all this goes to support the club mission. And so here's a little bit about the responsibilities that you'll have as you're kind of working through your experience as VPM. And so you've got three categories or settings for those responsibilities. One is at the club meeting, two is outside the club meeting, and three is the executive committee. So let's start with the club meeting and kind of following this rule of three that you've seen in all the slides leading up to this point. You have before the club meeting, after the club meeting, or before, upon arrival, and after the club meeting. So before the club meeting, here are some best practices to follow and to keep in mind as you lead into your meeting. Is there a new member? So you need to remember to remind your president to do an induction ceremony. And I remember when I first heard this, I was like, induction ceremony, what do we need to do? In our club, it's literally just introducing the person to the club as a formal member at the end of the meeting. They get a round of applause and they get a chance to share what they're excited about and kind of, get a chance to have the stage for a little bit. So whatever works for your club is fine. I've definitely seen other types of induction ceremonies. I've seen clubs that do formal votes, but whatever is going to work for the club, that's what you're going to be involved in. Second is having your guest packets ready for distribution at the meeting. Third, do a quick check-in with any guests, former guests, and inactive members outside of the meeting, and then inviting them to the next club meeting. So question for the group. I'd love to hear about maybe something that's unique to your club experience that you notice, anything that you've seen from maybe other clubs or something you've done if you've been in the VPM role that you feel like helps make guests feel more welcome when they visit a club.
Well, my mentor checked in on me before I became a member. My mentor checked in on me just to be sure that I was okay. And if I missed, they would, basically just find out what happened and whether I was feeling better or whatever the case might be. So I liked that.
Very cool.
I like it when it's your first time going to a meeting and someone explains to you what the meeting format is going to be like, especially since a lot of people get really caught off guard during the icebreaker and they're like, wait, I have to speak. But preparing them for it, I think, makes for a better first day experience.
Awesome. I like that. So not just saying hello and greeting, but even if you've got time, giving them the lay of the land for what the experience is going to be like. That's a really good idea. Anyone else have fun things that their clubs did? I'd love to hear about anybody who's in an online only or hybrid club, because I think a lot of times our trainings are still built and things like guest packets, they're very much driven by an in-person dynamic. But if you're in a hybrid or online club, I'd be curious to hear how you might feel or what you feel is effective for making a guest feel more welcome when they visit.
I spelled it wrong. Positivity.
Yeah.
Well, when guests visit our club after the meeting, we send them an email to thank them and welcome them back again.
Okay, wonderful. And sorry, I'm just getting the chat notifications. Just to let you know, I believe if you go to the Toastmasters website and log in, Huey, you'll be able to access the handbook under Leadership Central. There should be under the drop downs an ability to get that information. But if I'll leave my email at the end of the chat, and if you want to message me, I can actually just send it directly to you. But yes, thank y'all for sharing. And one thing I did want to share a little bit when it comes to making members more feel more welcome in an online club. Something that I thought that our team at Dungeons and Toast does that is pretty cool is our webmaster created a virtual guest book that could be signed at, just like a dungeonsandtoast.com/guest book. And then another thing that they decided to do that our VPPR does is that we have themed meetings every week. And so our VPPR makes custom backgrounds, maybe about a half dozen of them. And then anybody who's a guest gets a link so that if they wanted to join and participate, they get a special background that's on theme, which I thought was a pretty cool idea. I don't remember who specifically came up with it, but was really fun to make the experience a little bit more festive. But yeah, thanks for sharing some of the best practices that y'all have. All right.
I wanted
So,
to,
oh, thanks, Charles.
if you don't, yeah, if you don't mind, I wanted to share something that we
Sure.
have at every meeting, a written agenda. And that really helps the guests because as a first time guest, they really don't understand what's going to be happening in the meeting, and the written agenda really helps.
Yeah. Does everybody in this group, do you always have a written agenda available for guests when folks show up? I know that that's something that we did not initially have when our club was founded, but that's a really good point.
That's the biggest compliment we get with guests. They say we're really organized and they like our agenda.
Nice. I remember it took me, I think, over a year before I heard the term the Toastmasters pie. And I felt very silly because I had been a part of the club for over a year, and then somebody used it and mentioned it, and I didn't know, and I was a club officer. Very embarrassing moment for me. And for those of you who don't know, the Toastmasters pie is the way a lot of times meetings are structured. The prepared speeches, the P, the first section, the impromptu speeches, the I, the second section, and then the evaluation portion, the E, at the end of it. I might have been president of the club when it became known that I didn't know what that was. All right. Thank you for the feedback, everyone. Let's talk a little bit about upon arrival at the club meeting. And so I feel these items are pretty self-explanatory. You're going to do your meet and greet, you're going to distribute packets, and be prepared for any of those questions your guests may have. And Huey, I am glad I was able to tell you that because it was really embarrassing for me when I was up at when I put that in chat and they're like, you're a club officer, you should know this. All right. After the club meeting, similarly to the previous slide, I think these are pretty standard. You're going to try to meet with every guest. You're going to answer their questions. You're going to try to invite guests to join the club, or if they're a little bit hesitant, you can invite them to attend another meeting. And then finally, being there to help complete the application. I'd like to pause a little bit and ask hybrid and online clubs again. There are some things here that meeting the guests individually, getting that face to face. How do those of you who are hybrid and online, how do y'all handle visitor when the club is taking place virtually?
You mean like when a visitor joins, like kind of like what is the protocol that we take?
Yeah, like after the club meeting, when you're in person, you can kind of even within the room, you can usually go to the side and you can have a conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with an online only club or even a hybrid club, you can't. It's really hard when there's conversation. Maybe the group is having a conversation in the Zoom room. How have you found, a way to be effective? With dealing with guests when you're online or when you're not in the same space? What are the ways that you reach out or connect with guests after the club meeting to answer those questions? How do you manage that process?
Yeah, so we are pretty good about like having the very first like point of operation after the meeting is adjourned and the recording is turned off to speak directly to the guest and ask how their experience was.
Okay.
Um, and then I do have a template follow-up email as well that I do send out to them after.
Nice. And I want to point out something Brandon said, template email. As he mentioned earlier, emails is the essence of VPM. Having templates that you can just plug in, really, really excellent way to maximize your efficiency when you're doing outreach. Anybody else have other ways that they engage with their guests in an online club?
Hi, so my location is somewhat hybrid. We do in person at the location I'm at, but there's also another location in a different area. So what we do is we schedule meetings. We do ask them if they can come over to our location. If not, we use Microsoft Teams and schedule a virtual meeting and just go over whatever questions they have and also talk about the club.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I like that. And I like the personal touch that that provides. Any other thoughts for what to do after the club meeting to keep guests engaged?
I like the personal touch. That's what my mentor did. Excuse me. That's what my mentor did with me. She met me about a week later, and we went over what we needed to go over, and I felt so welcome.
Yeah, very cool. It's it's important. I think the personal touch is important. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But one of the things that, a couple more things that I've gotten are using Zoom chat and private messages. I know similarly, our VPM process is to schedule a 15-minute call or virtual meeting to discuss the club. We have an integrated online application that a guest can fill out that is pre-populated with our club information. And I would say that if you are online or if you're emailing a club application, that it's just a minor thing, but pre-saving a copy of the Toastmasters application, membership application with your club number and your club information already in there. It's just a little like minor step that's going to help the potential member out. And all right, I really hate this part, but I'm going to be flipping through some slides that are mostly just informative, in their lists and kind of telling you what you're looking at. I hope that's okay. I know it's painful, but I think that's going to be the most effective way to get through it. So outside the club, this is where I spent most of my time as VPM. Everybody has different styles and different ways of managing work. And so I don't want you to feel that that's the right thing to do because our club meetings are every Friday night. And that was hard for me to attend consistently. And so we had to have a team that did a really good job of tracking emails and tracking contact information so that I could follow up with them and make extra time to schedule phone calls and Zoom meetings with them. But some things to focus on are things like the membership building efforts, membership building programs such as Smedley, promoting communications about inviting guests to your members, keeping track of guests, new members and inactive members. I had a fun little spreadsheet that had like last date, potential next date, when was the last time I contacted them. I guess not everybody would find that fun. But being mindful of your goal of 20 active members in the club, or I guess with the new Smedley Distinguished, 25 active members in a club, the 8 growing by 8. Keeping track of applications, dues and fees, coordinating with the treasurer, collaborating with the VP of Public Relations to make sure club membership goals are front and center with the club, making sure the TI site is up to date, and attending the exec meeting. And you think that we might be done? Nope, there's still a little bit more. Attend and vote at the council meetings, and it's a little bit of a secret, but I have not been to a council meeting as a club officer in a very long time. It doesn't seem to happen that often. And not only that, but a lot of times you can find a proxy, so you should be okay. And then lastly, succession planning. So the good news is we are done with that outside the club meeting section. Thank you all for going on that quick slide ride with me. But before we move on, I'd like to ask and see, is there anything that you feel like didn't get touched on when it comes to how you manage this stuff outside the club meeting? Anything that any of you find particularly useful that helped you with some of the activities that we just went through? And I'd like to double down on the email templates, by the way. That's a really good point, Brandon.
Yeah, I will also triple down on it. One thing that I inherited from my predecessor, which she's our president now. She's amazing, Sula. But she created an Airtable database in order to like keep track of all this. It's like Excel, but better.
Yeah,
Um,
I think
but
it integrates with WordPress potentially too, which is
mm,
cool.
Yeah, that's cool. We're currently building a website, really taking a lot of inspiration from Dungeons and Toast. So that's good to know. But the Airtable, like if I didn't have my Airtable, I do not know how I would be doing this right now. Like some kind of record keeping instrument um to like help track when people are prospects and then when they transition into being guests for the first time and then like as they're being a guest then like the different kinds of follow-ups until they either become a member or like decide against it. Like it's like so many steps and it's like thank God that she did all that to like help already have the momentum of this all being kept track of because otherwise I would be in like a quagmire at this point.
Yeah, I mean, documentation, as somebody who in his professional life manages databases, CRMs, things like that, big deal, and helps a lot, especially for succession. Anybody else? Any thoughts for of ways that when you're outside the club meeting, your life can be easier? Cool. All right. Um, Then, yeah, I think the last part of the piece is the executive committee. And, as a member of the executive committee, your main functions will be to build up club membership, but also maintain your club membership. And one way to do this is to participate in things like the Smedley Award, talk up Toastmasters, and beat the clock membership contests. Encourage and incentivizing club members to sponsor new members. And then I think just keeping track of and I think Sarah talked a lot about how her mentor very much on the personal touch side, be providing that personal touch for current members so that they feel like they belong and they are a part of the club. But I guess, is everybody feeling good about their responsibilities and understanding what you've got to do? I hope that we've done had a comprehensive enough conversation, but you have to do now, we can kind of piggyback on some of the advice we've gotten, but really talk about how we need to get this done. So, in terms of what we just reviewed, I mean, what do you think is the most important piece of the VPM role right now? Maybe for your club person, specifically or just in general?
For us, it's definitely membership. Yeah, we need members for us.
Okay. Is that pretty consistent for the group here? That
Probably in my case, recruitment is like actually on the back burner because
okay.
we're right around 40 right now. And it's getting to a point where like if there were many more, we'd probably need to start to hold two meetings. Um, it's just like we're doing good on that front. So I do like the inspiration of like what can I do to actually gain a better relationship with all the members that I do have and like make sure that they all know that I'm a resource that they can come to even when they're not green anymore.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's kind of two different spectrums of the VPM role, like the recruitment piece and then the retention piece. And regardless of what your priority is going to be this year, I think the best thing to do is to think about what your responsibility action plan is, what your objectives are, and has anybody come up with any ideas already for what they're going to do this year that they feel is going to help them hit the goal of, whether it's the new members or having a 90% retention rate or whatever that goal is, who's started to come up with some things that they'd like to try out that they'd be willing to share with the group? No worries. I had a VPM action plan, so I'm going to share. Oh, Ed, I see you unmuted. Would you like to share?
So it's more of a question and asking for advice here because we're low in membership and we're trying to figure out how to get more members.
Okay.
And we're predominantly online. It used to be a in-person club, and now it's predominantly online.
Mm,
So I just want to get ideas from you guys as far as what to do if you guys have already done recruiting events that would help. So one of the things we're coming up with is just doing like a Facebook um like a Facebook boost. You can do it for like $5 a day or something like that. I'm not quite sure what the results are going to be though. So just trying to get ideas as far as how to get new members because we're down to about like for example today our meeting we had 7 people and
okay.
that's pretty low. So definitely looking for advice here.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we did early on with our club, in addition to getting the standard referrals from the TI website, is we set up Eventbrite and Meetup pages. They're free platforms where you can just put down your weekly meeting, figuring out the keywords that best represent your club, and I would say that they're oftentimes a little bit. We did get more challenging prospects that way, but it also helped get more people coming to our meetings. And the nice thing is that you can, online only, you can but if you're looking for people who are going to be in a similar area, you can geographically assign, your event in that area, even if it's online only, which was really helpful. And I think we were fortunate that because we were online, we got a lot of folks internationally in our club. So we have a pretty solid um, constituency of like people from New Zealand, people from Australia, because we meet on Friday night. So I would say using Eventbrite and Meetup was helpful for us, even maybe more so than Facebook.
Um, Something that you said, Andrew, like at the beginning, this maybe glossed over was you said something like the VPM needs to be able to articulate what makes their club unique. Um, and I feel like that's an important piece. It's like you want to like realize what like the market kind of is like for the club that you actually hold, I guess, and then specifically try and target more spaces where those people would be in. Um, and that might be a little more successful than just like kind of blanket boosting on Facebook, unless you're like uh I don't want to give an example for the kind of club that would be uh, do really well for, but maybe like di specific kinds of Facebook groups or pages would be more um, actually more helpful, depending on the niche that your club kind of exists in.
Yeah. Anybody else with any other thoughts?
I do have this as more like a question, as far as and a point too. We do get quite a few prospective members coming from the website. Not I say members, but potential guests. And I'm not I have a sneaking feeling that when I send an email back to someone, it may be going in their spam because
Mm,
we do have an online club, and what we're sending is a bunch of links to get to the Zoom meeting.
mm.
And I know other people have wanted me to send them our agenda, which is a Word document. But I don't know, has anybody else had a problem sending out to prospective members or prospective guests a link or a email, and perhaps they didn't get it? Because sometimes somebody will call and they said, I didn't get an answer from you. And I said, well, I did send you an email on this date. And they go, oh, there it is.
That's a good point, especially with the way new email for filters work. Something that I did when I was VPM is I wouldn't send the link until I got a response from them, mostly because I tried to set up a time to meet with the person before the meeting happened when we were online only. Obviously, if the meeting was going to be the next day, uh, I wouldn't do that, and I would include the link. But if I had a little bit of lead time, I would try to just reach out with a quick introduction email and give like a breakdown of who our club was and who I am, and just say, hey, like let's meet up before the club so I can I can give you an idea of what to expect when you join, and a little bit about who we are and what the vibe is of Dungeons and Toasts. And because that's more text and fewer links, I often got responses that way.
The only thing I've done different is that I will send them an email with all the links and then also text the person and said, I just sent you the link to our meeting. Please check your spam. But
Oh, yeah.
but sometimes, like you said, people seem to become a prospective guest within an hour before our meeting starts. That happens maybe 10%, 20% of the time.
Yeah,
So, all
and
right.
sometimes you just, as much as you want to act on that lead, part of it is they've got to be paying attention. They've really got to want to show up.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. One with my action plan, just sharing it very quickly, and I know we got started a little bit late, so I'll try to get through this. But I tried to meet every club member once before the end of the year for 15 to 20 minutes about why Toastmasters, why Dungeons and Toast, and what they enjoy about the experience for both. What are their goals? And then I made it a point to meet every guest and ask the same and kind of track those responses. Tracking guest attendance and follow up with a weekly point of contact via email, and putting that in a spreadsheet, creating a spreadsheet in advance so I could track the dates, track contact information, everything I had. And then lastly, inviting them to our Discord server so that we can engage with guests and let them engage with our members. There's one thing I wanted to talk about because I remember early on as a new club and a chartering club, we had a lot of new membership. We did not do big membership contests because in the first year, the Smedley contest came around, and I think in the first 2 months of the year, we got maybe 9 new members, but we didn't get them during the Smedley time, and that was like really discouraging because a lot of Toastmasters who were experienced, like, oh, you couldn't get the Smedley award, and that kind of made me feel terrible. But I would like to share that do what works for your club and not just what is dictated to you by Toastmasters International. Because if people enjoy the experience at the club and they come in, a new member is a new member. Don't feel like if you are trying to create urgency around a specific time of year that you need to wait for that. Make work on recruitment year round. Don't wait. And then let me talk a little bit about the resources we do have available for you. So here's a list to get you started. I know all of you love it when I share these slides that are just lists. So here we go. Look at that. You've already done the first thing. You are killing it, everyone. Just way to go. Read your materials. If you don't have the materials, I will drop it in chat. My email is very easy to remember. It's my first name dot my last name at gmail.com. If you don't have your club leadership materials, you can always contact me and I can send them your way. Or if you wanted to chat about something, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Meet with your outgoing executive committee, meet with your outgoing VPM, and meet with your current executive committee. And getting started, invite a couple of members to join your membership committee. I do find that membership committees are nice, but will often create, yeah, we are all busy. I like to think of this as find the people that you like to collaborate with and may be interested in helping you out. Conducting a membership survey is great. Creating guest welcome kits, especially if it's in person, really cool to have some fun design stuff. Ordering any of the materials required. I would like to talk about how, like, I'm not a visual guy. I don't do a lot of cool, snazzy presentations, but I have a friend in my club who is really into that type of stuff. So we work together. I may put together the messaging and then she may put together a really great welcome kit. And so finding those members that you like working with, I think it makes the club experience more fun and you are able to tap into the talents that you may not have. So get to know the members and get to know ways that people can help you out with things like this outside of their role as just a member. And who knows, they may turn into a leader down the line. And then here you go. Quick websites. I mean, all of it's at toastmasters.org. If you want to take a quick screenshot, once again, if you contact me, I can send you the presentation. I can send you these slides. It's not a problem at all if you need any of these resources. And then that's really it for the session. One of the things that I learned really early on when I was doing professional presenting at work is an easy way to make sure you did your job is to tell you what I'm going to tell you, and then tell you, and then tell you what I just told you. So a quick wrap up is, we reviewed the roles and responsibilities of being VPM. The primary responsibilities being, I think we talked about recruitment and retention of members. We discussed how you may perform those responsibilities. And then lastly, reviewed some of the resources available to you, but I really think I enjoyed the feedback more so than looking at the slides because I think we're in a different era of Toastmasters with the hybrid and online only clubs, and it's a different day and age, and so learning from each other is probably more important than just learning at what's been done, looking at what's been done before. And I want to, everybody keep in mind that a robust club, why new members is important is because I don't know if you all have felt the creep of needing to be in a role instead of enjoying your just being present at a club. More members means less pressure on current members to over participate. More members also creates a path to more leadership. And especially as your leaders are going to be pulled into district roles, division roles, area roles, what have you, it's important to have, people like Emma who are going to hop on and join the leadership group. And then one thing I want to stress, and I loved that this was talked about and was somebody's first response is it's not just about the recruitment, but it's membership melt. Avoiding that. Retention is key. And then lastly, and Brandon, thank you for reiterating this for me. And I want to say it again. Something that's really cool about being VPM and why I have done it so many times is that you get to be the person that represents your club's culture to the guests directly. You are that first person they talk to. And if you love your club and you enjoy the experience you have and you get to know your members, you are going to be better than just the meeting, having that personal connection, as Sarah mentioned with her mentor, and being that way to show them that unique culture you have. I think that's the easiest way to maximize your success when recruiting. Any questions or final thoughts that y'all would like to share? I'd love to hear if if something, sparked your interest or if something inspired you to think of something different. Thank you. All right.
I
Yeah,
like the personal touch that I love the personal touch that you have with members. That's how they kept me. I love my club, and if members weren't there, I would leave. I love my club. They're very personable people. And if you take that time, um, some people I'm panicking. This is why I joined Toastmaster in the first place. Okay, good job. Good job.
100%. 100%. Thank you, Emma. And that was great. That's why I chose VPM as the first role that I did. I agree with that 100%. I wanted people to understand why my club was such a great club to be a part of. So thank you for sharing that, Emma. And I guess with that, I'm going to, if I can figure out how to do this, stop the recording and